Hello, my name is Brian Galebuck and I will be a guest commentator in this video for Dweebovision. I am a North American Scrabble expert, and in this video I am going to play Scrabble while providing in-game commentary on my moves. Hopefully this will help to improve your game and be fun to watch. I will be playing this game with the North American Tournament word list and the double challenge rule, in which a lost challenge results in a loss of turn. The game is just about to start, so let's join the action. Alright, it's my opponent to go first. I have a bunch of really high-scoring tiles. I have a Q without a U, but I have the A if a T ends up on the board somewhere. I have the Z, which goes along with the A as well, and a W. So, really interesting set of letters to start off this game. While I'm waiting for my opponent to make his or her first play, I'm going to do a finger command. And this is a retired computer programmer. All right. Lentil. Now, I is on the board. Q can fit there. Looking what I can do with the Z. Not a terrible amount right now. ZA, making lentil, but that leaves me with few vowels, and also now I could just play the Q. This is kind of a crazy rack. I'm not sure if that's the way to do it. Now I could play something like wake for 22, keeping the Z and the Q. This is a kind of rack you don't see very often, so I'm not quite sure what to do. Now, if I draw an I could play QIS, pluralizing lentil, so maybe ZA is not too bad. What else can I do with the Z? That seems a kind of low-scoring opportunity for the Z there. Well, I'm a little bit not sure what to do on this one, and I don't want to take too long at this point in the game. I am going to do za. Alright. Now, I could do QIS. I picked up the I, which is what I was looking for there. QIS would be a good scoring play on my next turn. 39 points. So hopefully that spot will stay open. If it doesn't, what else can I do? Now I have a 6-letter play, Weeskit, for 30 points, leaving just the Q. I don't want to hold on to the Q for too long. Now I obviously don't have a bingo because I would need some U on the board somewhere to get a bingo. I note that my rating right now on ISC and that of my opponent is very close, so looking forward to a competitive game here. Alright, what else could I do? I could do, well, just the Q again, but that would leave me. Alright, seamers, I'm sure that's a good word. Alright, and that blocks the spot that I had for QIS. Now, the Q is a problem. I don't want to hold on to the Q for too long. I'm thinking about just doing QI. Do I have a high scoring opportunity with my other tiles, keeping the Q? I could do something like right for 24 points. That doesn't look good. I think getting rid of the Q now is an okay play. Only 11 points, but this will open the possibility for getting something better later. Now, does that make a bingo? It looks kind of like something, but not quite. Through an N, I have twinkers, but that is not a valid word and does not have a valid anagram. How about through? Ooh, through a Y I'd have skywrite. That might be what I'm thinking of when I look at this. It looks close to something. Skywrite through a Y. There's no Y on the board. How about through an A? No. How about through an M? Don't think so. Through an E? I don't believe so. How about an R? No. And S? No. This does not look like I have a bingo here. Now, I have W and K for scoring, so now that I've jettisoned the Q, I would like to get rid of the W and the K and build quickly towards a bingo rack. I've so far not been scoring very quickly in this game. Well, I've only had 2 turns. Okay, let's just check all those words. Those are all fine. Now, an I or an E goes before here. What goes before ER that I have? An S. I don't think I have any great scoring opportunities to the triple, unfortunately. Now, FA takes it back R, but OM doesn't take anything that I have. What else can I do here? Okay, now I don't want to keep the board too closed up because I am trailing by effectively a bingo. Well, my opponent did get a bingo, so that makes sense. AL. All right. Okay, I'd like to get rid of the W and the K if I can. How can I do that? This board is a little bit tight for me. I could play the word new for 19 points. IRST is not a bad leave. I'm using my E, but to get rid of the K and the W, that seems important, so I'm going to do this. All right. Now, I've got duplicated I, duplicated T, but does it make anything? Almost striata, but that would be 2 A's. All right, and there aren't many floaters on this board. In fact, there doesn't really seem to be any floaters, so that's something I'm going to have to try to remedy as I go through the game here. Now, looking at this spot I was looking at before, again, I still only have an S that goes before ER. That blocks my opportunities there. Looking through the AL, I don't believe I have a 9 through AL. This is unfortunately a kind of blocked board. My opponent had a letter that goes in front of ER. Now, I have a T to play through. That would give me 3 T's. That doesn't look like a bingo. Now, how can I would like to use a T and an I and also open up other areas of the board. Now, I'm seeing till here for 16 points, but that does not really open up an additional area of the board, so is weak on that front. But that's a pretty good leave. If my opponent opens up an opportunity, I may be able to get a bingo. This seems kind of weak, though. I would like to make a more board opening play than that. There might just not be a good way, though. Well, I could play sit for only 3 points. That seems very weak. Let's go with till. Alright, now I picked up another T and a U, which is not a good vowel. But that looks like turista. Alright, so turista does not play, though. There are not really any bingo lanes on this board. Now, I'm behind by a lot, and I'm going to need to open up new spots on the board. Now, my opponent got 26 for that play. I would like to use a T and a U if I can, but I need to open up. Now, Tut only scores 5 points, but it takes a back S, and I have an S. This does what my previous play didn't do, which is opens up another area of the board. It balances my rack again. Okay. Only 5 points, which is a poor feature of this play. I could play something like at for 9 points, but that doesn't open up the board. I need to keep the board open. All right. Purely for board opening purposes, I am making this play. And that's an excellent rack, so I will have a bingo if my opponent does not block this location. And that will get me back within striking range. Now, I wonder if I have a 9-letter bingo through AL. Intarsial. Yes, but that has the AL in the last position. Well, that somewhat obstructs that, so I don't have to waste a lot of time thinking about that location. Now, I could play through the F, but I'd have to take some time to find a bingo with the F. Oh, Ratfinks, but that has the F in the 4th location. Well, let's go very quickly here. Well, let's see if it's worth doing that. I'm going to get these letters plus the F doubled, and I'm going to go into a triple lane. But if I play here, I'm going to get the double, and I'm going to get Tut. So this may be a better location anyway. It's going to score a few fewer points, but okay, so I could do something like Artisan, and that's going to keep the board pretty open. 68 points, and I'll still be trailing, so I do want to keep the board open. I think Artisan is fine. Now, I could play into the triple lane to get more. Well, I'm not going to get more points because I got the N doubled. So this is a fine score here. I think this is satisfactory. Now, just looking real quick, I don't have anything ending in like OST, do I? If this is an O, what does that make? I don't think so. Okay, so Artisan looks okay. All right, we're going to make this play. And brained. And I usually see words with brain in them rather quickly. Here's why. Now, does it play anywhere, though? I don't think it does, unfortunately. Now, I have some floaters to consider. I have this A. If I had an O to play through, I'd have debonair. All right, just looking at those words are all valid. Now, how about through an R? Looks like brandier, that's not valid. How about through a T? I don't think so. And all other floaters seem... Now I have an F. I mustn't forget the F here. That does not look like a bingo. All right. So, now brained does not have any anagrams. I'm sure of that. So how can I score a lot of points here? I could do braid or brand. All right. Now, if I played brand, I would have 3 vowels remaining, so braid is a better play. A-N-E is a good leave. This does open up column 15 if my opponent has an S or a blank, but there's only one S and one blank remaining, so it's not super dangerous. Scores 28 points, which is a reasonable score. Now, Something ending. Do I have something ending in B? I could put an E or an I here. IB does not look good. EB. I don't think I can find a word there. All right. Now, goo takes a back D. I could play something like D bar for 33 points, leaving IN. This was 28 points, leaving AEN. D bar might be better. Now, do I have a different play that... Well, I could do like something like drain, but using the B rather is good at this point. I like D bar. Okay, D bar for 33 it is. All right, I draw the X for scoring. Does it score on this board? Ooh, here's a spot for the X. I could play socks. Socks is going to be an excellent score if that's not blocked. 56 points. Now, the score is getting better here. I'm only behind by 13 points. All right, I can play socks now. Now, is that my best play? Where else could the X play for scoring? I think that is the obvious correct spot for the X. And just considering really quickly if I have any bingos. I'm just considering all the floaters. I don't see any bingos. I like the X there. So I could also do 6 instead of socks. That would break up the duplicated I, which is good. Or I could do even better. I could do nix. That doesn't burn the S. And that is the last S available. So my opponent will not have the S. This looks pretty good. Just trying to see if I had a 5-letter play going to here with the X. I don't see one. So this seems fine. All right. I'm getting a little bit vowel heavy here. I'm going to have to clean that up. I have a 16-point lead with my opponent on turn. Now, I have the word yam. I have duplicated I again, so it would be nice to use an I. Have the S, which could come in really handy. Regality, excellent play by my opponent to take a pretty commanding lead again. Now, I was just looking at yam. That doesn't quite fit here because OG is not a word. Now, again, I'm going to have to keep the board open, and unfortunately my opponent bingoed without using the blank, which means my opponent could have just drawn the blank. Now, I have 7:45 remaining. I would like to use an I. I would like to use the Y maybe. What can I do to the G? Not seeing anything there. Where do I's go? I need to figure out where I's fit. I's don't fit very well on this board. I is a problem tile right now. What can I do with the I's? Or with one I, rather. I'm really not very happy about this rack. I don't think it's a good idea to exchange that. Now, I was looking at yam. That does play here for 20 points. That's a pretty good score. Looking, can I put an M here? ORM. Not seeing a way to do that. Could do MIB for 14 points. That's a terrible leave as well. I also have a U, which is not a great tile, especially since the Q has already been played. Okay, I don't want to spend too much more time on this play. I could set up an S spot, hoping that my opponent did not yet draw the blank. That's maybe a little risky at this point. Yam scores reasonably. Let's just keep within scoring touch of my opponent. I'm hoping I don't draw the remaining I. I do not. That's good. Now, I see a 5-letter play, Bundy, B-U-N-D-I. Or am I think I'm thinking Bindi, B-I-N-D-I is definitely good. Coved, coving, coved. I don't know if I like this play, and it's 46 points. Coved. I think I'm going to challenge. It seems unfamiliar to me, and if it's valid, I'm going to have a very difficult time winning. Coved. I don't like it. I think I'm going to challenge. All right, the play is valid, so I lose a turn. That's the problem with the double challenge rule. If you challenge and it's valid, then you lose a turn, and unfortunately that is going to really sink my chances of winning this game. I don't think cove is a verb. That must be an adjective meaning having coves. We'll check coving after the game. All right, well, that's unfortunate. Now I'm going to have to really go all out to set up some high-scoring plays here. High-scoring spots. My opponent draws 5 more tiles, so the odds of my opponent having the blank now is increasing. All right. Unfortunately, I still have 2 I's because I didn't play off an I. I'm maybe not going to want to play off too many letters all at the same time because I'm going to empty the bag too quickly. Have a 74-point deficit. I'm going to need to score well and get a bingo to have a chance to win in this game. I's still don't play well on this board. Now, one thing I could do, because there's only 1 I remaining, I could play BIS, setting up an I hook, ibis. Although that burns the S, so it would be I'm just removing this person from my buddies list for now because if they keep coming in and out, that's rather distracting. I'm trying to concentrate here, make the best plays. I'll refriend him after the video. All right, trace, good score by my opponent. That blocks bingo lanes at the top of the board and 9 tiles remaining. Now, can I set up a hook somehow without using the S? Well, I wouldn't use the S if I played nab, but I'm keeping UI. I'm keeping a lot of ugly stuff. How can I clean up this rack? And oh, I'm just running out of ideas here. Now, I could play. There's 2 N's remaining. I could play nib. Oops, not NBB, NIB for 10 points. Okay, ALB takes a... Okay, if I play dib, that's not really opening up anything. I could instead play... Is dib or dub better? I think I prefer INU, as the U and the N go together somewhat. Opens a triple lane, or opens a bingo lane here. And then I can look at, I'm going to probably need to draw the blank to have a chance here. Let's try this. All right. I think if my opponent has the blank, I'm not going to be able to set up any unblockable hooks. My opponent could just play to the R, and that would really block up things very nicely. I could have used the D. I could have played Dib here for a lot more points. Yeah, this was not the best board opening play. My opponent is going to have an easy time. This is not a great bingo lane anyway with the D in the second spot. This right now is the most likely bingo lane. I put the D here. I don't like it now. I really wish I hadn't done that, but when you're running a little low on time, you don't have necessarily a lot of time to consider everything as fully as you would like. S also goes in front of EME. I think it's very likely my opponent does have the blank. If I could have drawn the blank, I could have maybe opened up a bingo lane that couldn't be blocked. Knew early in the game was very board blocking. Yeah, my opponent uses a D there. That's what I should have done. Now, with 3 tiles remaining, my opponent is extremely likely to have the blank. I need to keep this lane open, as unlikely as it is that I'll get a bingo. The R is a bingo lane. Can I open? Maybe I can open up another bingo lane here. So I'll have one playing to the R and here in row L. But I'm not going to score enough to win anyway. That's the problem. Well, AN opens an I hook. And I still have IE for going to the R. Well, let's just go for a bingo. Well, that's not going to be a bingo rack. And my opponent either has the blank now or will have the blank after they make a play. And I do not have a bingo rack. Let's shoot for 300 points if we can. All right. So AN takes an I. Oh, if I had an O there, I think Idunius. No, that doesn't sound right. All right, looking like a pretty low scoring finish for me here. Oven, E hook, yes. I didn't consider E hook as well. All right. And my opponent has LOP blank. Probably will go out on the next play, so I should just score as many points as I can on this play. So how can I score points? Well, I have an O for going after the J. I could put an S or an N here. But then I don't see how I can make a word, so that's not a word. What goes before the B? Nothing that I have. All right. I could play Soul for 13 points. S here scores 10, but I can't do anything. Now, E goes here, or S goes there, E goes here. OES, 20 points. That's a good score. Doesn't quite get me to 300. Can I do better than this? That's probably good enough for now. Okay, now if this was a tournament game, I'd go longer to try and find a better play, but this one looks sufficient. And my opponent will probably play out. If not, what can I do with IINU? Pools, and that plays out. All right. All right, so the final score is 292 points for me, 421 points for my opponent, a winning margin of 129 points. So let's examine the game and see what I should have done better. All right. So here, I wasn't quite sure what to do. Oh, I could have played... Oh, well, I could have played Zaz for 39 points. That would have made a lot of sense. Much better than Za, even though it uses the S. So I should have done that. All right. Here I had the Q. I could have played... I was looking for high-scoring plays I could make without using the Q. Wit is 27 points at 11J. Okay, and keeps EKQS. So what did I do? I just played off the Q immediately. All right. Probably Wit is better because it scores a lot of points. Here I could have played Irksome. Oh, a double-double. That would have been nice for 52 points. Instead, I play New. That's a much inferior play. In fact, my play doesn't even appear on the top options here. L8. KREWE. That's a way to use the K and the W and score points. So that would have been a lot better. Try Some is another way to get a double-double. So all those were a lot better than New. New also has the disadvantage, as I noted later in the game, that it's pretty board closing, and with the score the way it is, that's not indicated. Now, here I didn't have a bingo. I could have played Trail. Instead I played Till, but that doesn't open up the board. Trail opens up the board more, so maybe it was better. Here I had Turista, but nowhere to play it. Some low scoring options there. I went directly for the bingo, and I drew the blank. So I played Artisan. I could have got a couple more points by playing Infarcts. Oh, okay, so that's a play through the F, but I correctly noted that I wasn't going to get that many more points by playing through the F, and I'm going to open a triple lane. So I like Artisan fine. I think that was a good play. Okay, here I had Brained, but nowhere to play it. I could have played Ribband at A10. Oh, Bartison. All right, I didn't consider that B front hook. That's a bad hook to miss, to not see it. So I maybe should be studying hooks a little bit more. So I played D bar instead. Does not appear on the top list. There are a lot of higher scoring options, including the B, using the B hook up here. All right, now I ended up with these I's. Well, I had, okay, I could have just played Ox. I think I prefer Nix to get rid of the I's don't play well on this board. So I like Nix a little bit better than Ox. Regality, that was a strong blow by my opponent. Here I could have played Meow. Oh, that would have been very nice. That would have cleaned up my vowel situation and scored 26 points. Much better than Yum for 20 points and keeping the two I's. Now here's where my opponent played Coved. I'm going to check Coving. Coving is valid. I wonder is covings valid? Covings is also valid. So I'm just not remembering that cove is a verb, and I'll look that up in a dictionary after the game to try to remember what that verb means, because if you can remember what a verb means, then you won't question whether it's valid during the game. Well, then I challenged, and that was a bad mistake. That got me really in a bind. And now, here, again, my best plays are using this B hook, which I wasn't considering. That would have really helped. Not only would have it used both eyes, it would have opened up another bingo lane. But I see I had a bingo lane up here, which I wasn't considering. So what did I do? Dib was a very poor play. I'm kind of getting a little bit low on time and just not really carefully considering the options. Here I could have played out race at B1. Oh, I see, sticking the U there. That's cute. I wasn't looking at O blank trace. Out race. That's tricky, but cute. And it scores 18 points. That would have been pretty nice. What did I do? I opened up another bingo lane here, hoping for, does my opponent have envelop? Oh, it doesn't play. Yeah, you need an E here. That's not how you spell envelop. Okay, so different options for my opponent. Here I could have played heroines. Oh, that would have been pretty nice for 22 points. And using 4 tiles, instead I used just 3 tiles and scored 20. So heroines is a 4-point superior play, and my opponent played out to win the game. All right. So what were the key learning points for this game? Well, at the very beginning, I could have made a better power tile play. I had too many power tiles, and it kind of blocked my brain up. ZAS was a pretty obvious good play. Then, looking to get rid of the K and the W, I missed a better play. Crew down here. Later, I missed a B hook, Bartisan. That's important. And then I also flaked out. I couldn't remember for some reason that cove is a verb. And I probably will not forget that the next time, so that's a plus. Always got to look on the bright side. Those, I think, were my major misses in this game. I had quite a few. I had a couple good decisions. Artisan was a good decision. Not too many good decisions, so I have to be happy about the good decisions I did make. Well, anyway, I hope you got something valuable out of watching this video. At the very least, you can see some of these mistakes I made, and you can try not to make those mistakes in your games. So I hope you enjoyed watching. Thank you for watching. My name is Brian Gailbach, and this has been a video for Dweebovision.